What's going on, everyone? So, we got another Giannis update earlier today. Giannis Antetokounmpo apparently requested a trade, according to Brian Windhorst. Now, he did this in the offseason, and remember, this past offseason, a ton of just rumors about him leaving and departing and whatnot, but ultimately committed to the season. But he's already made that step of like, hey, I think it's time for me to go. Obviously, we see his frustrations now. There's a lot of talks about, is he going to be traded by the trade deadline? Now, if he becomes available, Lakers are already heavily linked to him. There were reports in the offseason that if he was to leave Milwaukee, he wanted to go to a bigger market, LA, New York, Miami, like things where he could go and, enjoy it, especially in his later years, whatnot. Of course, Lakers, you have Austin Reeves playing to the level that he's playing. So, of course, it's like, hey, you have him in the offseason, you'd have multiple firsts and all this other stuff that you could package together to then go make the trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. You have a much more competitive, comparable package to other teams. Also, Giannis would have a lot more power, right? Because next season would be what could be the final year of his deal. He could opt out and then become a free agent. So he could do what Anthony Davis did to force his way to the Lakers. He could go if he wants to go to Lakers. And there are some rumors, some murmurs out there, right? We haven't gotten it from like Shams or anybody that's like super reliable. So again, always take that stuff. Even the Brian Windhorst report, he can be kind of hit or miss. So again, take all this stuff with a grain of salt. But there are rumors going around that Giannis' preferred destination is the Lakers and that he wants to go to Lakers, which makes sense. Him and Luka, right? Giannis getting into his later years, being able to play alongside Luka. You have the complements and complementary balance between Giannis and Luka, right? There's a lot of benefits that both would get from each other. Post LeBron era, slotting in Giannis at that 4 spot makes a ton of sense. So now you got Giannis. Even kind of thoughts of like maybe moving Giannis. Would Giannis play the 5, right? DeAndre Ayton's been really good for you, but I mean, Giannis is Giannis, right? Like if you could move Giannis to the 5 and then have kind of 2 wings out there, or really 3, right? Imagine having like Luka with like 2 3-and-D wings, and then, like that 2-way point of attack guard, right? Like, could you get a Keon Ellis or something like that? Like, now you're in business, now you're cooking. So the problem with getting Giannis this season, right? Which is why I'm hoping the report from Brian Windhorst is true, that Giannis is committed this year and he doesn't try to force his way out this year. Because if the Lakers were to make a move for Giannis this season, I don't know if the Lakers are going to be able to get it done. I've seen, because the best package the Lakers could put together would be something, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Dalton Connect, Adu Thero, 1 first, and then like 4 pick swaps and, second and stuff but is that enough to get it done for Giannis, right? If those pick swaps were firsts, yes, I do think that'd be more than enough. But, and I've seen people talk about like, his age, like Giannis, like, do you really want to give that up for Giannis? You're in win now mode, right? You're the Lakers. And I think you trust the Lakers brand, right? I talked about it last year before we got Luka, right? Literally made an entire video about it, talking about how, look, trust the Lakers brand. Lakers always get that next guy, right? So you get Giannis, you have Giannis and Luka, you probably win multiple championships. And then when Giannis starts to decline or whatever, he ages out or whatever, you're going to get the next guy. It's the Lakers. It's always going to happen. Not just that, but like, again, who knows? Maybe you can do an Anthony Davis for Luka. They maybe do something where Giannis in his later years, you could turn into something, right? It's one of those things where if you can get him, Lakers are going to get him if they can, right? Whether you want it, whether I want it, no matter what. Like if Lakers can realistically get Giannis Antetokounmpo, they're going to go get Giannis Antetokounmpo to pair him with Luka. Question is, can those two fit? Now, as far as like the idea of them is a match made in heaven. But we saw Giannis with Dame, and Giannis doesn't really want to be a screener and all that stuff. And just so there's getting question marks. But in theory, it would be a match. It'd be one of the probably potential greatest pairings ever. I mean, you're talking the closest thing to a prime Anthony Davis and LeBron as you could get, right? Like, that'd be ridiculous. Next Kareem and Magic type thing, right? So to me, I think you do it if you can. I don't necessarily see a path this year. But a couple things. Milwaukee is in a very unique spot. They don't really have control of their picks and their future and stuff like that. So any package that they do, they either need to get all that stuff or they need to get a package that can make them a very good basketball team still, make them competitive even still. So maybe something, so I look at maybe two paths. Because the problem with the offseason still is, would Austin Reeves want to go to Milwaukee? Right? That's the biggest question mark. Would Austin Reeves want to go play in Milwaukee for the Bucks? You know, when there's several teams that have a bunch of cap space, they do a bunch of things. Also, you don't want to put Austin Reeves in the trade package for Giannis and it doesn't go through, because now you run the risk of Austin Reeves going, okay, got it. And he ends up leaving. So Lakers are in a very tough spot, right? The only way I really think it makes sense is either like I've seen people throw out a package where it's like, you keep Austin Reeves in the trade. Is Milwaukee going to do that? Probably not. So I think the only way that it really makes it work is if you go to Austin Reeves and you just say, hey, dude, we're about to get Giannis. And unfortunately, we have to trade you. You've been great this year. It's Giannis, right? Like, it is what it is, right? And then you go and you tell Austin, where do you want to go? Are you fine going to Milwaukee? Because if you are, then we can trade you to Milwaukee. Otherwise, where's your preferred destination? Or give us a list of preferred destinations, and we'll try to do a trade and send you to that place. Because then what you could do is you could take Austin, trade him to that place, get the assets, pieces, and package to then add that to what you have to send to Milwaukee, right? So if you can get, if Austin Reeves keeps playing the level that he's playing, you can get multiple first. I mean, you're talking at this point, a Desmond Baines package might be too little at that point. I mean, could you get several first and maybe a young guy, right? And then kind of get that. Plus, in the offseason, again, you'd have multiple firsts and stuff like that, and then take all of that and then send that. So now it's like, hey, here's 6 or 7 firsts with a Dude Hero, Dalton Connect, whatever other young guy you get in the Austin Reeves trade. Right now, you got a much more competitive package to where you might be able to get that done. Plus, if Giannis is kind of nudging his way to the Lakers, that'll scare most teams off. Because the problem is like, if Austin Reeves doesn't want to go to Milwaukee, then there goes that, right? So then you run the risk of losing Austin Reeves. So then that becomes a problem. And then on top of that, right, like you don't have there's a team that would probably be like, we could get Giannis for a year and a half, and all we have to do is outdo a Dude Hero, Dalton Connect, a first, a second, 4 pick swaps, and Rui Hachimura, essentially, right? Like we can outdo that and still be great. I mean, Spurs could outdo that. Thunder could outdo that. There's several teams that could outdo that and still be in great shape and maybe convince him to stay. And if he leaves, no big deal. We made a season and a half push, or trade him next season and maybe get even more than what they gave up for him, right? Like, from the Lakers. Cause then it's like, hey, well, worst case, we just trade him to the Lakers and then we get the Lakers first and all that other stuff. Right. So again, it's going to be tough, right? In my opinion, I think we need Giannis to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks this year. And then in the offseason, he has a lot more power. He has a lot more control. He has a lot more say. Lakers are just in a much better position to get things done, work on multiple trades, 3-team, 4-team, whatever you have to do to get that done, to get Giannis on to Lakers. Not just that, but then you kind of figure out what your real actual cap space situation is. You kind of figure out what, is going to happen with LeBron and stuff. Because what if LeBron wants to stay? Do you kind of would the Lakers really just be like, sorry, buddy, good luck to you type thing? Or do they keep LeBron at the 4 and maybe Giannis at the 5, right? Kind of go that thing. Would Giannis even be willing to play the 5? There's so many questions that kind of need to be resolved. But you also do run the risk of Austin Reeves. If Austin Reeves has another dud in the playoffs, that could ruin any, because right now, his value is probably insane. There's a lot of teams that probably sell the farm for him because again, he's playing at an MVP level, right? And just been ridiculous. So there's a lot of teams that would probably sell the farm for him, but if he has another dud in the playoffs, that's going to scare some teams away, and some teams might go like, yeah, he's great in the regular season, but come playoff time, he's a concern and a liability, right? So Lakers are kind of banking on Austin Reeves to be continue to be the superstar that he's been this season, right? Like, so getting a lot of in play, but if you can get Giannis, you have to. In my opinion, you have to. Yes, I do think that there is a huge argument to like just stay the course, keep Austin Reeves, or if you do trade him for more kind of like youthful pieces and stuff like that. But again, you're talking about Giannis, right? Like even if he declines, you got what, probably another 4 years at worst, right? Like I understand the idea of like, he's so reliant on his athleticism, but you win 2, 3, 4 championships, before he starts to decline. It's worth it. If you win one, it's like, could you argue maybe you could have still won one at some point? But like, I don't know. I think if you're the Lakers, you keep doing what you need to do. Right? My concern is that the Lakers end up waiting for Giannis to not do anything. Like that's my biggest concern. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.